way, it doesn't make sense. There's no consistency in the branding. So you got to keep this consistent digital interactions. And by having a consumer persona, everyone in the company knows how to talk. The fourth point is engagement and data. When your digital interactions are spot on, they're doing well, people are resonating to it, you're going to get more engagement. You're going to get more followers, you're going to get more fans, and because of that, you're going to get more data. Right? Data is especially important. And as you get more data, you get to understand more of who your consumers are, and then you get to refine that consumer persona even better to get even a more closer and more accurate view of who this person is. And then lastly, the consumer insights. This is like the holy grail. If you can get the consumer insights, then you can start to understand all their challenges, all their needs, and then you start to refine all your digital interactions, and then you're bang on in terms of talking to them. The second part is product development. So developing consumer persona is not only for the marketing department, it's for the entire company and for the product developers. And how is this important for the product developers? So number one, who are you developing the product for? If you have an understanding of who the consumers are, when the developers are developing this product, they know that XYZ person likes this product because he has a fear of this thing. And he's trying to overcome this fear by using this product, right? So when the product developer is creating this product, he's going to develop in that way. Number two, he's thinking like the users. So he thinks about how the user is going to use this product. Maybe the person is always on the go, and he's so busy that he is very likely to drop his phone or likely to drop the product. So you have to develop a product to be a little bit more rugged, right? Because that's how the user is going to use it. So if you don't develop a rugged product, and this person is always on the go, and he drops it, it breaks, this is going to be a terrible user experience. It's going to be a terrible experience, and you'll probably ditch the product. So by able to think like the users, you can create products in a way that will be beneficial to the user. The third part is product development. Like it's similar to what I said earlier, you create the product that's spot on to the needs of that consumer. Part four, feedback and data. Successful products generate feedback loops, allowing the brand to win more fans, earn more feedback, data, and insights. If you get, in the modern day of advertising, reviews are so important. So if your product is a hot seller and it's awesome, what's going to happen is people are going to love your product. They're going to put reviews. And then other people are going to come, they're going to see those reviews, and they're going to love it too. And then they're going to buy the product. And then it's just going to be this feedback loop of people recommending your product to more people because the product is awesome. And then the last part is iterative improvements or even creating new products. So as you get more feedback, as you get more data, you can start to refine your product, the next generation of the product, to be even better than the previous generation. Or you might get some comments that allow you to think, wow, maybe there's a possibility that I can create another product that's something similar, but it satisfies another challenge, another need, another fear that the consumers may have. So these are the importance of the consumer personas. And when we create consumer personas, if you're a small business, you look at around 3 to 5 consumer personas. You don't want to create too many, but at the same time, you don't want to create too little. Too many makes it very difficult for you to create different types of content and different types of products for all these different types of consumers. But too little means you're just focusing on 1 or 2 groups, and that might be too small of a market. So we're going to, for the learning sakes of it, I'm going to quickly do a very short and easy, simplified version of everything, where we're going to look at consumer research, and then we're going to create a consumer persona, and then we're going to show quickly how we would apply this consumer persona. So when we look at consumer research, we've got to start with demographics and geography. Here, there's so many sources of data. You can look at companies' internal data, like sales data, social media analytics, website analytics, and then you can look up external data. Go out, do competitor analysis, see what your competitors are doing, who their target audience is, who their demographics are, their geography of their audience. You can look at third-party research. Maybe there was a research project done for a similar product, and you can leverage that for your product. Or you can look at government data. If your product has something to do with like healthcare, maybe it's like electronic bikes. Government has tons of data on these type of things because they're trying to promote a healthy lifestyle for their citizens. So it's worth it to check. Social media analytics is probably one of the areas that you guys want to look in at the most, because a lot of the communication these days is going through social media, on Facebook. So Facebook has a great Facebook Insights. You can dig in, look at your consumer audience insights, get who the demographics are, where they're, the geography, where they're coming from. It's a great tool to be using. The next one is behavior patterns. For behavior patterns, we're trying to see, we're going to use search engines, social, and e-commerce. And these analytics help us discover what their behaviors are like. So there are keyword searches, social media, and e-commerce analytics. An example is keyword searches. Keyword searches is similar, like you can use Google Analytics. There's a website, trends.google.com/trends. We can share that a little bit later. And you can go on this website and you can just throw in words. You can throw in like camera. You can throw in digital cameras. You can throw in digital SLRs or any product that you have in mind. And Google will look at the trends on how people are searching these words and what are common words that are related to what you're searching. So you can start to see behaviors. So for example, if I put in e-bikes, right, I might be able to get related words like durability, tough. So for you, as you're thinking about this, people are looking at e-bikes and they're relating it to words like durability and tough. So when you're creating a marketing message, you probably want to write something about that. You want to touch upon that because that's what people are relating it to. And then lastly, psychographics. So psychographics is when we really dig into what consumers are thinking and discover what's in their minds, on their minds. And we use surveys and interviews to do this. So tonight, or today, I can quickly talk about surveys first. Surveys is a quick way of getting out and reaching a lot of people at once. But surveys aren't able to get a deeper understanding on consumer insights. And that's when we get into consumer personas. This last slide, consumer personas. And as we saw earlier, we had the backgrounds. Here's a mock-up that we pre-filled. I can switch over. We have a mock-up that we pre-filled, and we have background, demographics, interests. So a lot of these things you can do your own research on. So you can find out the background, demographics, using tools like Facebook Analytics, right? And then you can use interests, you can use keyword searches and all these tools. But when you get into goals, fears, common objections, and challenges, this is where you need to do interviews and you need to talk to your consumers. You would not believe how much insights you will get when you talk to a consumer. And the amount of things that they share to you, you would not predict. So when I first did my first interviews with the consumers, I had this preconception of what they're going to say. Right? I had this idea that they're going to tell me exactly what I think they're going to say. But when you actually interview them, that's when it gets very interesting and gets a lot of fun. Because you can start to ask them why. They tell you one thing, but you ask them why, and they'll tell you another thing. A lot of people, most people probably, think that they act rationally, but in reality, they act very emotionally. And in order to get that emotional answer from them, you got to start to dig into the questions, and you have to start to ask why. So tonight, we're going to do a mock interview with Amy, and I have a set of questions for Amy, and we're going to go through this and then do the interview, and then I'm going to, along the way, we're going to fill in this consumer persona. So right now we have one interviewee, Amy, but for you guys, I would recommend doing as many interviews as you can that make sense. And then over time, when you're doing more and more interviews, you're going to see trends in the answers, right? You're going to see trends in the answers of your interviewees. And this is kind of like the average, and this is kind of the typical busy Amy, or the typical consumer persona. So why we chose Amy here is because we found out through our research on demographics and the background that this typical persona is a working professional in Shanghai. She's single, she went to school at a top university, has very ambitious plans to do her MBA. She's roughly 27 years old, earns about 16,000 RMB a month, has high spending power, lives in Shanghai city center. Her interests, active social life, loves eating in new places with friends, loves online shopping, uses apps such as Ele.me, Xiaohongshu, and follows the latest trends. We got that from our initial research. Now we want to dig in and get the emotional answers, the emotional questions. And we're going to do this for Hema. So thank you, Amy, for participating in this.
Thank you for having me here.
Okay, so I got a bunch of questions that I have on my iPad here, and then we're going to go through it and just answer as best as you can. Okay?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So do you use Hema or any grocery delivery services?
I do, very often.
Yeah. Why do you do that?
I think it just saves a lot of time. It really helps me plan my day very effectively. So for example, I use Hema a lot. It offers this option where you can choose to have your grocery delivery in a half an hour time slot within a day. In that case, when I'm wrapping up with my work or when I'm taking the subway home, I can just order and I know that the food will deliver at that half hour time slot.
And why is that important to you? Why is that exact moment important to you to be delivered?
I'm just really busy. I have a very packed schedule and I hate waiting for my food being hungry. I also hate being rushed.
Right.
So I want to have that very specific 30 minutes time slot where I can fit it easily into my schedule.
Right. So that's one of the, we're picking up some insights already. So one of the fears that she has is she doesn't want to be rushed. Want to waste time, essentially. Right? So she doesn't want to waste time. That's a huge fear because Amy is this busybody. She's always going. She doesn't have time to sit around and wait for your delivery. And Hema creates these 30-minute time slots, which they're very good at delivering within. So this product really fits into Amy's needs. So her goal is to have very frictionless delivery service. Okay, so we'll continue. So what did you do before Hema or his delivery service came around?
I went to supermarkets like everybody else, and it has been really troublesome actually, because I had to spend a lot of time looking through aisles for food I need, and then what happened very often is I bought too much or I didn't buy enough because it's kind of difficult for me to plan what I need to eat for the next few days, and I just didn't have an idea how much food I will need and what ingredients it will be needed.
So it's not very efficient, right?
No.
And then now, do you order often, or?
Oh yes, very often. Almost every day or the other day.
Yeah, and is it because you fear that there's a waste of money, or why do you order often?
The truth is, I have a really small fridge. I live by myself in Shanghai, and I don't have a lot of storage space in my kitchen, and it really bothers me when I bought a lot of food and then I couldn't cook it before they expire. So
Right.
a lot of my food has to go to waste, and I feel I wasted the money and also I wasted the food.
Right. So there we go. We got another fear here. Don't waste food. And money. So I would imagine that the food element is a environmental aspect too. You don't want to just waste food because you didn't be able to eat it, right?
Exactly, and I love Hema for that because they offer a lot of smaller portions, grocers. So I can buy meat or vegetables in a very single person friendly portion.
Right.
And I can just cook every day and then finish everything.
So you want to match what you need. Awesome. And then the next part is, let's see, there are other grocery delivery service. Why do you choose Hema?
On top of my head, I just love its packaging. I like that everything is nicely branded. There's this cute Hema logo on top.
Right.
And also, everything that I've received from Hema is really good quality and very clean and safe.
Yeah.
And also, I've been to the physical stores a few times, and I could also see how nicely organized and tidy the store is and how fresh the grocers there are. And I think overall, it's just I really trust this brand of Hema. I know that whatever I order from Hema or buy at the physical Hema shop, I can have good quality products.
Right. So trust is finding a trusting delivery service is a challenge.
Yeah, delivery service and products.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So because you don't get to go to the store and pick up the product yourself, you need to trust somebody to pick up the right product, pick up a product that's not spoiled, for example.
Yeah.
And that's where the element of trust really comes into play, I would say.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
Yeah, and another thing about Hema I really like is on Hema, when you go to product information page, they also offer recipes related to this ingredient. So you can see where, in which dishes this ingredient is used, and if you click into the ingredient, you see what else you need to make this dish, and you can actually just buy all those on the app. So I didn't have to plan anything or research anything elsewhere. And also Hema offers a lot of semi-prepared, semi-ready food.
Yeah.
You can just buy and then prepare it with ease.
So I guess here was one of your challenges before was recipes and making sure you have all the ingredients. Recipes and all ingredients.
It was a headache before Hema.
And then also you wanted to know that you're able to cook it because your cooking level has to be good enough. Yes. Okay. All right. So we know that in China, across the world, there's the pandemic that's going on. So I want to ask you some questions about that. So when this happened, were you afraid of the groceries arriving being not safe?
Yes, I was pretty worried. Actually, during the pandemic, I even moving into my parents' place, so we could take care of each other and we could cook together. And then I think at that time, we had a lockdown, so it wasn't very convenient to go to the supermarkets in the first place, and we use a lot of delivery service, and it was really a big concern for me. I don't mind me being sick, but I don't want my parents to get sick. So I was really worried that the food would not be safe, or the delivery person was sick.
Right. Well, that's a huge fear, right? You don't want to get sick, and your family to get sick. To be sick and family. So how did you choose the delivery service then? Do you use Hema, or do you use another app during the pandemic? What did you end up doing?
Yeah, I stuck with Hema during the pandemic because during the time I checked the app, and then I saw that they actually offer this feature where you can check the temperature of the person that's delivering your groceries. And also I read on the app that Hema has been very strict with the safety control. So everyone working in the store, working regardless it's the staff or the cooks that's cooking in the kitchen, they are all checked. And also everyone has to wear a mask. Right. And then I think that really gave me a lot of calm and really, right? Yeah.
So you said that you lived with your parents. I don't know about your parents. My parents, they love to like shop offline. They love to go, feel, touch. It's groceries. They're old school like that. So was it hard for you to stop them from going to the supermarket, or were you able to convince them to also use this? Because I didn't want my parents to leave. So what did you?
Yeah, same here. I recommended my mom Hema as well. And when I first brought it up, she didn't like it. She didn't want to use it. And she said because she knew that the food will be delivered by someone and it will be nicely packaged, she doesn't want to spend this extra money in the packaging and delivery fee. She was worried that the products will be overpriced.
Right, because of all the branding. And
yes, exactly.
So how did you convince her to?
It actually wasn't that hard. I just showed her the app, and then she could see by herself that a lot of the food their price is actually quite reasonable. Some of them even lower than what you can buy in a regular supermarket. Yeah. And also on Hema there is a review section that my mom also clicked in and checked, and then she also read a lot of positive comments. People were commenting that, wow, this is really cost effective, like it's really good quality products, but with reasonable price. So she started to try, and then the other day she discovered the community group chat feature on the app, which I wasn't aware at all before. So essentially it's a place where you can have direct conversation with the staff of the closest Hema store to your address, and you can also interact with the other customers of that location. And I think that really gave my mom a sense of shopping Hema is almost like going to a supermarket where you can pose questions to the staff, or you can talk to someone else and then sharing your reviews of a certain products. Right. She loves it.
So I think from that, what I get from this is a huge challenge here is that the user of the app may not be the decision maker. Right? So the decision maker here could have been Amy's parents, could have been Amy's mom. Right? It wasn't Amy. Amy's just the person using the app. She's just completing the transaction. But the decision maker was Amy's mom. So Hema has to look for ways to help convince Amy's mom, not Amy, Amy's mom, to use the app. Right, and that will allow the whole family to use the app in the future. Very cool. So, what were some of the challenges that you faced with the app? Like, Hema, it sounds like it's perfect right now. Were there any problems or any challenges that you had with the app during the pandemic?
Yes, I actually had some complaints about Hema during the pandemic period, and it's actually because of this specialty small portion grocers that they offers. Before, it was a great thing for me because I live by myself and then I cook for myself, and I love the offerings. But then I saw that during the pandemic, they still only offer small packages or small portions of grocers. And during the pandemic, I really wanted to limit my times of interacting with the delivery person. I want to essentially buy more and then just keep it in stock. But Hema didn't allow me to do that. If I wanted to do so, I had to buy essentially a lot of items.
Yeah.
And I think the packaging itself took up a lot of space in our home.
So an objection was during the pandemic, you wanted to order by bulk.
Yes,
but
exactly.
The system wasn't set up for bulk. It wasn't set up for bulk order. So, had Hema talked to people like Amy and realized that people were very fearful of these delivery people coming to their homes, they don't want to order every single day. Every single day means you have more interactions with someone that you don't know and don't really trust as a stranger, right? So you want to order fewer times. But by ordering fewer times, that means you have to buy in bigger portions. And the portions that Hema had wasn't set up for that. So this could have been a great product innovation for them during that pandemic time. So now that the pandemic's gone away, almost, yes, things are pretty much back to normal over here. Have you gone back to Hema? Do you order them more? Do you use Hema more now than you ever did before?
I do. I'm still using Hema. I'm not sure if it's more often or less often.
Right. So do you feel comfortable cooking for your friends now, for example? Before you might have gone outside to eat.
Oh yeah, I practiced so many recipes that Hema offer. Now I'm really confident of inviting my friends over for dinner or something.
Right. So now the marketing message for Hema there could be that, hey, you're not just cooking for yourself now. Now you have all these recipes and all your cooking skills that you can cook for your friends. And that could be another marketing message to get to people like Amy, because she's holding these skill sets for cooking, and now she can use it to invite their friends over and have dinner parties instead of going out.
Or impress my mom.
Or impress your mom. Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's an example of an interview that I would do with consumers, right? And over time, you do more and more of these, and then you might get some opinions, ideas that are different. So, and then you can start to refine this consumer persona and get it better and better. So that's my part for now. I'm going to turn it back, and we're going to wrap it up.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Amy, and Andy, to give us an example how to really do a persona. I think this is just an example. How do we do it? But I think really when you're doing a customer persona, the recent one I've done. Actually, I tried to interview some students study abroad from China. When I tried to develop a product for them, actually it took me and my colleagues actually 2 days. I actually invited a boy to come to my office. I really sit down with him for entire 2 days. And I think I should probably get 50% of the persona I really developed. I think that's really a very, very hard work. And you really have to asking all kind of questions from all kind of angles and dig out as much as possible your understanding of them. For example, here, I would like to add on a few things here, like the common objections, which I will show you later on. Because in China, there's a lot of people fear of the food safety. That was actually a big problem. People are really concerned about, I believe, the fears. They're thinking the food is not safe. The quality of food is actually quite bad. So actually in Hema, which I can show you later on, they developed actually you can scan a code, actually can trace back from the origin of where the food come from, and the whole duration of the food during the delivery. I think that kind of a thing. Also, goals here, if I may add on from Amy's angle here, is actually they find out if a couple living in a first-tier city, if they are very busy, actually they don't have the time to go to grocery stores, to do grocery shoppings. So they say even the delivery is one thing, but when you deliver it to my home, I have to be there. But otherwise, because it's fresh meat or fresh fish, it's really easy to go off, especially in the summertime. So I really observe my colleagues, when they actually, it's at 6 o'clock, they start to go onto app and start to buy something. Then when they pack up everything in the bags, then they go home. 30 minutes later, when they reach home, the food is there. So this is kind of how detailed this kind of service is actually go down to, in terms of objections and fears. But without understanding this kind of pain points, how can you design a service about 30 minutes delivery? Basically means I want it now. So this is actually all comes from a very deep understanding of the consumers. So I want to show you a few other things. Amy was talking about the freshness of the food, the freshness of the grocery she bought. So this is actually a Chinese cabbage. So first to look at it, she said she wants a small portion for one single person. So this is I believe it's a half, of the Chinese cabbage. But one thing that's very interesting you see here, you see this number 5. Anyone give me a guess what this number 5 means? What is 5 means? Anyone give me any? Also, look at a small package of milk. Something in common here is both of them have a 5 on there. So anyone give me any guess, what this 5 means? Sorry, I can't access. Who said Friday? Oh, Christine, it's not for you to answer. You've been there. All right. Since Christine's already told you the answer. Actually, this means Friday. So I believe Thursday is in orange or either Wednesday. Things another color. So which means this. Milk and this cabbage is sold for today only. They don't sell overnight. Food, overnight products.